The great scientist Dijkstra, he says that once a programmer has understood the use of variables, he has understood the essence of programming. So that is the importance of knowing the variables. Okay. So given the problem, we should be able to extract what are all the variables I can declare and what it could be the type of the data that particular variable is going to store. If you can able to understand from the problem itself, majority of the problem is solved. So let us dive in detail about variables and how these variables are declared and how we can initialize them, or else how we can define those variables in detail in this class. So definition goes like this. The variable in a C is a named memory location. Okay, this I have already given once. So named memory location meaning what? This, it is a name, okay, logical name, and there is a memory associated with this variable. In that memory, usually some data will be stored, and that data can be modified during the program execution. So having said, it is a named memory location. Let us say I have, for example, I have declared a variable int a equal to 5. This is the variable. Initialized, it is not declaration. I am initializing. Let us say a equal to 5. What does it mean? In memory, let us say at 100 location or 5,000 location or 10,000 location, whatever it is. This is the address. So at this address, the value 5 is stored, and this address is pointed by the pointer a. You can say variable name is a. Means a is pointing to the address. It is, we are not dealing with the pointers. I am simply saying this a is nothing but at the location 10,000, and at 10,000 value 5 is present. So we'll understand more about these memory locations when we are dealing with the pointers concept. So until that, just assume this is a memory named memory location which stores some data, right? And this data later on can be modified during the execution, program execution. Next, first concept in this variable is variable declaration, right? What is meant by declaration? So declaration tells the compiler what type of data that is going to store is one way, and what is the name of the variable. Two things are declared here. Two things are known to the compiler. So by declaring a variable, compiler understands that, so this variable name is so and so, and this is going to store the data of type, let us say int, float, or double, whatever it is, depending on the context. Now you can see here in this example how declaration goes. So this area, you can say top portion of the area, this is about declaration. Means always the declaration should be in the beginning of the program. That means immediately after start of the main function. You can see main is here. This is the beginning of the program. So in this region, declaration will be there. So you can see how I declare int age and float height, character grade. So this I declared like. So here is the declaration. Now, why I have chosen variables age of type int and grade of type character. Grade is usually A grade or B grade, C grade, so on. So that means what? There should be character. So age is what? Age usually it will have, 1.5 years, 2.5 years, like that we don't tell. We usually tell 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, so on. So that's why it is integer type. So height why it is float. Definitely it float means what? It should be, for example, what is your height means what you say 5.3 or 5.4 or 6.1, so on. So that's the reason we have. Now you have to understand by the problem itself what type of data you can that particular variable is going to store, and what are all the variables you can declare from the problem itself. Now, so this declaring a variable does not reserve, it only reserves the memory, but it does not assign any value to that. What does it mean? So int age, int is what? Int is 4 bytes we have seen, okay, and float is byte, let us say it is 8 bytes. So 8 byte character is what? 1 byte. So this much space is reserved for the variables, age and height and grade. Okay, so the by number of bytes that are reserved for this particular variables is depending on the type of the data. It only reserves, compiler only reserves the memory for these variables, but it is not going to store any value to that variable. Means what? At that particular memory location, there must be some undefined value. That undefined value we call it as a garbage value. Okay, so whenever you initialize the value, initializing means what? Let us say int age equal to, let us say 20 if I mention, this is called initialization. Whenever you initialize the value, that time only it's going to store actual value 20. Otherwise, it is garbage value. Otherwise means what? If you don't initialize the variable, it is going to store a garbage value. Garbage value means what? Some unknown, undefined value. Now let's see second component here is variable initialization. So variable initialization, as I already mentioned you, it is about assigning an initial value to the variable at the time of declaration itself. Okay, during the declaration itself we assign some values, that initial value we call it as a initialization. Let's see in this example. Here I declared here. Now in this region I am initializing the variables. What are the variables? Age is a variable, height is a variable, grade is a variable, right? And these variables are initialized, assigned some values. 20 is assigned and 58 is assigned. Grade A, it's a character. That's the reason it is in single quotes, right? So this is the variable initialization. There are other means of representing or else assigning the or else initializing the variables. I'll tell you that in a minute. Now you can see here in this example, instead of separately declaring the variables first, that is int age and float height and grade character, and then assigning the variables like this, we can do two things at a time: declaration, assignment, and the same statement itself, one step. So you can see here int age equal to 20, and similarly float height equal to 5.8 and grade A equal to character A. So this declaration and assignment as can be done at one place immediately. And next is, you can also declare, initialize the multiple variables of same type. If the data types are same, you can declare them at multiple variables at a time, at the same time. Declare and initialize both. Let's see that example. You can see. So A is a type integer variable, B is also type integer, C is also type integer, and for all them I am declaring in one statement. But the only thing is, you have to understand they are separated by commas. Okay, they are separated by commas. Here B equal to 20, C equal to 20. Anyhow, end of the statement is semicolon here. So similarly, here I declared X value, but I have defined and I have initialized the Y value. So this is also possible, right? So multiple variables, that the X and Y are the multiple variables, they are of same type float. Similarly, A, B, C are the multiple variables, they are of the same type integer.